Well, we go to this next story now. The Minister of Public Enterprises, Pravin, Gordhan, has urged Eskom to act swiftly to move the country away from the damaging effects of Stage 6 load shedding. Minister Gordhan says he met with the Eskom board yesterday to find a solution to the ongoing power crisis. Another minister, on the other hand, Minister Gordhan, has also commented on the fact that there has been no change in terms of what is happening at Eskom, but what we've seen is actually Stage 6, and actually intimating that perhaps the CEO is not the right person for the job. It's not the first time he said that, but is this enough? Does it inspire confidence at all that something will change? We are joined by Advocate Mtho, the President of the South African Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to weigh in on that. Advocate Xulu, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. What do you make of the Minister's appeal to the Eskom board for swift action to be taken? Does it inspire any confidence at all that he tells the nation that he is imploring on the board to do something?
Good afternoon, Xolani, and the viewers. No, it registers no confidence on the part of members of the Chamber of Commerce and a lot of businesses that we are related to. The minister cannot say and obviously hopelessly plead with the board, to end Stage 6 load shedding. What does that even mean? I think what would be more valuable is for the minister to disclose what was discussed with the board of Eskom yesterday and what it means to actually end Stage 6 load shedding. Eskom is a complicated business with a lot of implications to South Africans. And, a mere begging and pleading with an Eskom board and a one-liner just reporting on a meeting with the board is not enough. We want to know what's going on with that board and what's the plan and how we're going to end Stage 6 load shedding in a way that is practically and sensible.
Earlier today, Advocate Xulu, we also saw the reports from various outlets talking about what Minister Gordhan has been saying that in fact Stage 6 load shedding or load shedding as a whole is actually worse than a state capture in terms of how it puts the country's economy at risk. He has also shared what many people have been discussing, that his views are for Andre Tereta, the CEO, to actually move out, and a technical person, a person with technical expertise, to move back in and actually take the reins. What do you make of those pronouncements?
Yeah, I think those pronouncements are not helpful, and I will bring you back to our statement where we are saying Stage 6 that we are going through now and the possibilities of going up to Stage 7 and 8 is an indication that the economic policy at the cabinet has broken down. The oversight prowess of the board is non-existent, and definitely the management of Eskom doesn't understand what it means to turn around Eskom. So, unfortunately, the minister is also part of the economic policy at cabinet level, and his utterances now, do not really take into consideration the total picture of where we are as Eskom and the impact that this load shedding has been causing. So what we are calling for is that it's unhelpful for the minister, to make a public statement of that nature, because it doesn't actually give us any better insight that cabinet understands better of how to turn around the situation. So we are saying that all the levels that are currently responsible for Eskom now have demonstrated that they are unable to turn around Eskom, and that includes cabinet, the board, and Exco.
You are also calling for what you call, and I quote, a serious review of the entire Eskom ecosystem, which is quite urgent. What do you mean by that? Because we've discussed something similar in the past.
Yeah, we've discussed something similar, and we've been calling for at least over a year now, when we realize that every time we have significant levels of load shedding, cabinet or board members come out and give us, some headline-grabbing codes that they are on top of things. But no one is able to connect any plan that has been presented to something that we are moving forward on. So clearly, now we have a new sound bite about what's going on. But no one is telling us what happened about the Stage 6 that we experienced earlier this year. And no one is actually giving us an account that with the board being at Eskom for one quarter now, what has come out of it And the management team that has been there for over 3 years now, what have they done, what have they achieved, and what they're planning on doing? So we believe that the current management and the governance system of Eskom is unhelpful, and it will be very foolish for South Africans to still believe that the current structure will actually deliver a load-shedding-free Eskom. So that's what we are calling for, that it's time for South Africans to have probably a greater insight and a public discussion about what is the best way to set up and run and hold Eskom accountable on performance in a way that does not depend on Cabinet, the board, and Eskom alone. Because definitely, over the past few years that you and I have been talking about this issue, every time we have this situation, we get a new statement that is not moving us any further. And South Africans, I think, are calling for a better way of doing things. And whatever is happening now, there's no solution in the current team that is responsible for Eskom.
Advocate Xulu, you touched on this just a little bit when it comes to the warnings that we have seen all over, talking about higher stages of load shedding, stage 7, and possibly a blackout. Have you actually seen or discussed what would that look like? What would it mean? Because we've never been there as South Africa before. We've only experienced stage 6 blackouts.
Look, what we are expecting, and I'm telling you, with what we're going through now, a blackout is probably nothing far-fetched anymore. You know, when load shedding was introduced, we were told that it was a means of managing on avoiding a total blackout. With where we are going now and the total collapse of units and Quebec going offline and the unresolved issues with the new build, our understanding is that the consequences of a stage 7 and stage 8 is going to be akin to, you know, the level 5 or stage level 5 lockdown during the COVID time. So we're going to have an economy that cannot move, and obviously it's going to erase or erode all value and confidence that we have domestically and internationally. And it is a true possibility. And I think the warning that we are raising is that let us treat this as a crisis that will be similar to a level 5 lockdown. And if it does not, if you don't heed our calls, we are going to have a situation where we'll have an economy that is on standstill and largely on our own doing, and we will not be any wiser in terms of who's accountable, because we are saying let us clear the communication now to avoid a total blackout in this country, which is a possibility anytime now. I don't think it's too far-fetched.
Advocate Mtho, that's all the time we have this afternoon. Thank you very much for your time. Is South Africa ready for a stage 7 or a total blackout? That's the big question that many people are asking this afternoon as South Africa grapples still with stage 6 load shedding.